Dragonwilds, the latest entry from Jagex, and it's an open-world survival co-op game. I've played the early access for around 20 hours game time at the time of recording this, and finished all of the main content there is to offer, so I've got a lot to cover today, and I aim to answer the question, Dragonwilds, is it worth buying in early access? So Dragonwilds is set in the Runescape universe with iconic characters, enemies, and items carrying over to the brand new continent of Ashenfall, where Dragonwilds takes place. As soon as I jumped into Dragonwilds, I was hit with a feeling of nostalgia that I can only compare to the release of Valheim during COVID-19 lockdown. What a time, boys. What a time. But seriously, the music is perfect, newly composed versions of RuneScape classics that perfectly fit the world's setting, the visuals are beautiful, the sound effects are satisfying. Although the character customization is pretty basic. Alright, it's an edgy haircut or a bowl cut. And I think I want the bowl cut. Hell yeah. The game has the basic survival trope down. Keep your hydration and hunger levels topped up, sleep or rest before you get too exhausted or your stamina just starts disappearing. Within my first 12 hours or so, I was very set on a pretty common statement with this game. Dragonwilds is just Valheim, but set in the RuneScape world. And that's not entirely true, because spells. Well, not just spells, but they really feel like they give Dragonwilds a bit of a unique feeling, an identity. Utility spells that make those more trivial aspects of gathering just that much more satisfying. A spell that cuts down a line of trees, turning trees into bones, repairing your broken gear, or jumping really high and floating back down.
No, surely not.
But there are a ton of spells with practical uses, even in combat. Imbuing your weapon with fire for extra critical chance, air for attack speed, a magical shield for when you need to get up close and personal. It feels situational, and I love that about this game. The other thing that feels very well done, considering this is just early access, is the questing element. Sure, there's not much depth to the gameplay involved in the quests within Dragonwilds. Go there, collect this, kill that, bring this thing back, progress to the next area, and repeat, pretty much. The only reminiscent element of Dragonwild's quests to RuneScape quests is the dialogue. Witty, sarcastic British humor, and the quests don't completely hold your hand all of the way, leaving you to do some of the guesswork yourself. This really does bring back that survival element to the forefront. Make too many mistakes, aggro too many enemies, go somewhere you shouldn't be yet, you'll know, and you'll soon be doing the classic death run back to your corpse to get your stuff. The base building in Dragonwilds feels really intuitive, and the resources to build aren't too intense. There's nothing worse than wanting to build something big and impressive and needing to spend hours of your life chopping wood or mining stone. The costs feel pretty balanced, except occasionally a group of enemies will come and start smashing away at it if you're not prepared. Either that, or you don't realize that this dragon can and will fly over at any given point and start messing your shit up for absolutely no good reason. And you're not safe within your house. These things happen at the most inconvenient times, and again, remind you that this is a survival game, and not as cute as it looks in the daytime. Now you're probably sat there right now thinking, hey, Scritic, this all sounds great. I'm buying this game right now. I hear you. But just hold on a sec, because I feel like it's only fair to point out a few things. Because Dragonwilds is in early access, surprise, surprise, it feels like it's missing quite a lot. Each skill can be leveled to 99, which is very typical RuneScape, but it doesn't take anywhere near as long to get a 99 as it does in the real game. And you're rewarded with new abilities, perks, or just buffs to that skill the higher your level goes. Unfortunately, this currently dries out pretty prematurely, with future level perks still unavailable. On top of that, you can't currently level the ranging or magic skills that are technically present in the game. And although this doesn't seem to detract from how fun or effective both ranged and magic are in this version of the game, it leaves you wondering what it could be like, and currently leaves all of the gear flexibility options in the melee tree. Combat is extremely fun though. The dodging feels very forgiving, with a well-timed roll pretty much negating any and all damage for the next couple of seconds. Blocking and parrying is extremely satisfying, and there are quite a few upgrades to be made within all the combat styles, going from wooden to bone to bronze and finally iron gear. There are also some masterwork tier weapons and armor like the iconic Abyssal Whip, Granite Maul, and Anti-Dragonfire Shield. These are typically harder to acquire if you don't cheese your way to get them.
Get safe spotted, bitch.
But they are extremely powerful and fun to use in this version of the game. Although I will say they kind of trivialize the difficulty of content currently available once you get them. Now, it's only fair I talk about what my biggest gripes about Dragonwilds are. And the first one is a big one. The game is dark. Sure, we get it. It should be dark when the sun sets, but it gets so dark you literally have to have a torch out or be constantly spamming this little fire wisp spell just so you can see in a 5-meter radius around you. And even then, it's really difficult to make anything out in your surroundings, making it feel almost necessary to just sleep through the night in the more dangerous areas of the game. My other two gripes aren't big ones, and to be honest, I expect these to be hopefully resolved as the game pushes more and more content out there, but the first one being the lack of diversification across the map. Sure, there are only 4 areas currently available in this early access version, but in those areas you pretty much only encounter goblins, rats, more rats, even more rats, Garu, terror birds, wolves, and plants. It almost feels like they would have intended some of these areas to have different enemies, but just didn't have time to really work on that aspect, so they just copy and pasted some of the NPCs across multiple areas. Here's hoping that with the development of Dragonwilds that Jagex decide to pack out the more barren or desolate areas within the map and make it feel like moving from one area to another is a completely different experience and not just a copy and paste of the last one. Currently, you can only play Dragonwilds with up to 3 other players, and this does feel like the right size given what we currently have available, but I do pray that we get bigger, dedicated server capacity with some larger dungeons to boot. This could really open up for some fun multiplayer options for the longevity of the game, but it is worth bearing in mind that for every person currently logged into a server, the monsters scale in difficulty. This is immediately noticeable with just 2 people in a server, let alone with dozens. The current main story quest is Dragon Slayer, a classic RuneScape storyline of hunting down and slaying a dragon, and without spoiling too much about the final encounter, I've really got to say that this was really a little bit too easy. So much so that I actually thought some of the side quests, mini-bosses, and dungeons almost felt more difficult than this. But despite that, I have had a ton of fun playing Dragonwilds so far. Now, Jagex do have a little roadmap built into the main menu of the game so you can see exactly what they're working on behind the scenes. Some of these look incredibly exciting. I've been asked plenty whether I think the current version of the game is worth the price tag currently on offer, and I think you've got to look at it like this. With early access games, there is absolutely no guarantee that the end result is going to be something you'll enjoy, but you are essentially making an investment. I personally feel that you could quite easily get around 15 to 24 maybe hours of game time out of this current early access version, depending of course on how much you die or how much you enjoy base building, but I think that these things in the roadmap should be a bigger influence on your decision whether or not this game is for you. The other thing worth considering is that early access games typically go up in price on full release. And with some of these features that Jagex have said they're working on, hardcore mode, PvP, bigger multiplayer functionality, the sky's the limit with how far this game could go, and it could quite easily expand to be something incredible. Now, I'm slightly biased being a huge survival genre fan, but it's been a while since I've been sucked into a game like this. So, in my opinion, yeah, it's totally worth the money. Especially because I'll be coming back for future updates when the game picks up more and more attention at key content milestones. But I'm also interested to hear your takes. I've seen a lot of mixed reviews about this online, and I'd like to know yours. Have you tried Dragonwilds? What would you rate it out of 10? And if you haven't bought it yet, are you thinking about it? Are you excited for its development? That's going to be all from me on Dragonwilds for today, so until next time, I'll see you all soon. I'm going to go chop me some trees.